And we're back. Live now. From our Cary Studios, we have this. 1961 Denver. Original machine wrapped roll. Got my 50 names here. Hello, Joe McBride. Get those inside the bag. Let me do one other thing here. Get myself together. There we go. Hey, Farm Dog, Joe McBride, Wild Bill. Looking for a couple of things here. Hang on just a second. Okay. Ready to go. Let me get everybody together and get my... Where'd my little opener go? Looking for my little opening tool. I don't see it right now. Hang on. Oh, here it is. I stumbled upon it. Get the ends of the roll pried open here real quick. 1961. Really good year for die varieties. Actually, pretty much for the Denver mint, we're talking about mostly just repunch mint marks. But there are a lot of them. And a lot of nice ones, too. So hopefully we'll find that today. Alright, get the last part of the roll open here. There we go. Now, turn it around so that the wrapper comes up over the coins. There we go. We have ourselves one apparently clean looking 1961 roll of Lincolns. Hang on just a second. Still trying to find something here real quick. Make sure I'm getting myself ready. Randy. Yeah, I can tell you. Hang on just a second. No, you're not in this one. $1961 Denver. This is going to be a good roll, folks. I feel it in my veins. I feel something. Maybe it's that sandwich I had for lunch. Sing J gets the first coin in the roll. Let's see what Sing J gets. Hopefully we run into a lot of goodies here. And so far, nothing on the end roller on the obverse here. Let's take a look at the reverse. Double die reverses are not that well known for 1961D. That's what I was just looking at to see whether or not there were known double die reverses for 1961D. Kind of doing my research a little bit late as I'm running to class, right? So we got nothing for coin number 1. Unfortunately. Yeah, a lot of stuff happened in 1961. Remember the Cuban Missile Crisis? Well, remember. Not exactly that a lot of people here would be able to remember that, but don't want to take away anything from the wise elders who might be hanging out in the crowd out there. So when was the Cuban Missile Crisis? I don't remember. It might have been 62. Bay of Pigs was 61. That's right. Afternoon, Jeremy, Randy, Wild Bill, Farm Dog, Jim Schwartz, Coin Junkie. Looking for anything we can squeeze out of this roll. That's for sure. Okay, coin number 2 doesn't have it. We were 19 coins into the roll earlier today before we found our first die variety in that 58 roll. So I've been 10 to 15 coins into a roll before I find the first thing. A number of times. So we'll see if we can change that around a little bit. Let's see, we do have an RPM here. It's an RPM with the third coin out of the roll. Let me zoom in on it here. We'll take a look at it. Not saying that this one's necessarily been listed before, but it is an RPM. There we go. We can see it down in the lower part of the mint mark real easily. A nice little bulb sticking out down on the bottom. You do have a split upper serif as well, but the split upper serif, I'm sorry, I'm so jerky. There we go. The split upper serif doesn't show very well, but the split lower serif definitely does. So we do have an RPM to get us started. This will be die number 1 for the day. Let's take a look for any markers that'll help us identify this one as we see other coins representing the same die. I am seeing some really small markers already, but I want to find something near the date. I like markers that are closest to the date and mint mark, so they're easier to see when I'm looking at the mint mark area. Not that that's the only place I'm going to try to collect a marker. I'm just going to see if there's something near there that makes it easy. And the harder it gets, the more I have to look, right? Okay, we do have a little accent mark between the 1 and the bow tie. A little tiny die scratch there. I think you can see it. I'm going to center it up in the screen. Right there. Centered up. It's directly between the top of the 1 and the bow tie. So we're going to use that. See what else is on the obverse here. See if there's anything else we can gather. Okay, there's a big die scratch on the shoulder. See a die scratch running right across the shoulder there. So that'll be our other marker for this particular die. This is going to be die number 1 for the roll. And we'll flip it over and take a look at the reverse and see what we can find on the reverse to see if there's anything over here that'll help us even further. Or if there's perhaps a double die reverse that we need to be looking at. Let's see. Nothing so far. Hello, Mr. Patet. That's Paul Hampton's coin number 3 there. That is an RPM. It's a relatively minor one, but it's our first die variety for the roll. And we're going to go on to coin number 4. Got Kevin Speaks. Let's see what Kevin Speaks gets. Oh, well, there's a nice marker for you. There's a whole lot of stuff going around the 1. Quite a lot of damage there on the 1 on the die. But I do not see anything on the mint mark on this one, which is kind of too bad because you got more damage, more marks and stuff up over here next to the bow tie. That is all die damage. So we will see other coins with that same damage before we get finished with this roll. There's another one down there, another one over here. Big heavy die gouges. Couple under the vest. We got some stuff running around in the 1. We got one just below the 6-1. And then we've got another one over here on the front of the vest. So, let's see what else we're looking at. On the reverse, it appears to be a normal coin on the reverse. So everything's all normal on the reverse. The obverse has those die scratches, gouges, and stuff. We can tell now that that's going to be a normal die. It's not going to be a double die or an RPM. Because that would be part of the fingerprint of this die, just as these marks are. So where these marks show up, we know we definitely have the same die again. But this is not that, but it's also not anything else. On the Lincoln Cent, the font used to put the date on Lincoln Cents has an interesting characteristic in that there's no serifs on the ones. So a 1 is just a straight up and down line, like a bar. Given that, the date on 1961 Lincoln Cents looks exactly the same, right side up as it does upside down. I'll show you here in just a second. JOB gets the next coin. So I'm going to start this off right side up. Okay, now look at it. You have a 1961. And then as we flip it around and turn it upside down, you have 1961. That is the last time that could possibly happen on a Lincoln Cent. Unless we happen to mint Lincoln Cents until the year 6009. 6009 would be the next time that could happen. I don't think, this is just a curious guess on my part. I don't think we'll still be minting Lincoln Cents in 6009. If we are, there is definitely something amiss in our society. (1961) was also a big year for the Moon Project, trying to get astronauts up in the sky to begin the whole process. Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin was the first one out into space. That happened in 1961. See, here's another one of those. Is that a split on the upper? That might be splits on the serifs. Let me zoom in on this one real quick and take a look. I'll dig back and I'll find the other one if it is. Well, that is a split on the upper serif there. Come on, agree with me, microscope. Let's see. Missed you every time, Starbuck. Anytime you don't come around, I'm missing you. I have to do a daily ticker check on you. Make sure your ticker's working. I was going to look for a flashlight. Yeah, I still don't have one, so it's not going to do me any good trying to look for one. I'm thinking that might be a split lower serif, or a split upper and lower serif. They're really minor. We're just going to skip by it. I'll take a look at one of these after this is over. I'll take a look at one of them, and I'll see if there's anything on there that's really worth messing with. And if there is, I'll back all of them out. I'll pull them. I'll go back through and get them all out and get them listed for you. But I'm not seeing anything right now that's going to force me to list any of this, because that's just not enough. Not enough honey in the pot. All right, nothing there on coin number 7. That's Adam Chambers' coin. And we'll move on up to coin number 8 now. Coin number 8 is going to go to Jeff Dunn. Jeff Dunn gets this one. And it looks like we got nothing going on there on the mint mark anyway. Take a look on around to the rest of the coin. The rest of the coin. Does it have an autofocus? No, it does not. I would hope that by the year 6009, human beings have it worked out so that there is no need for cash, so that they don't have to worry about coins, and if there's still 1 cent coins minted in 6009, what value would they have? If a 1 cent coin 50 years ago would buy you a stick of gum, and a 1 cent coin now is merely a piece of tax money, what could it possibly be? Almost insignificant in 6009, or it would be insignificant actually. You had a point in 1950 where $1.50 would get you into a professional game of baseball and buy you a hot dog. Where now, $1.50 won't even pay the tax on the hot dog that you're buying there. Where are we going? Wait a minute. Boys and girls? We may be looking. We are looking at a double die. Look at that. Is that little notch on the L? Hey, get that sucker brought into good focus for us. My focus knob doesn't want to work this morning. See how we've got another bottom of an L sitting on top of the bottom of the L? Basically 2 bottoms. Let's see if we have any other similar notching. I don't see anything else. Let me look up at in. See if we have any notching on in. I have to turn the coin around so that the light shining into where I expect the notch would be right here. No. Only on that L. That L is the only place where we have that little piece sitting there. And I don't remember seeing one like this before. So that kind of tells me there's some chance that this could be a new die. But that's, you can't tell me that's not a notch right there. That's definitely a notch. Yeah, but Costco might sell you a hot dog and a soda for $1.50, but will they put you into a professional baseball game for the same price? So we've got ourselves a little minor double die, and let me back off of this one and see if I can pick up any markers near the date and mint mark area. See what I can pick up on here that might be usable as, oh, look at that. We've got a nice little die scratch just northwest of the 9. So we can get it to shine just right. This stupid thing focused. Okay, there we go. No. It may not be as usable as I thought it would be. There's a little bit of a fattening on the second one of the date due to die polishing. But, man, I'd rather they be really good markers. Something I can really use. Let's look up and around here and see if there's anything up here that I can pick up as a good marker. We need a marker for this because this thing's kind of minor. I want to make sure that it's not a master hub or a full working hub type issue, and that it is indeed an individual double die. And the only way to do that is to make sure that all of the ones that you get in a roll are from the same die. I guess I'm going to have to use that die scratch on the 9. I don't really want to, though, because it doesn't look... It looks like it may disappear quickly. Scratch through the Y. That thing going through the lower part of the Y, I don't think that's a die scratch either. I think it might be just a little hit. There is a die scratch coming into the top of the T. I have it listed as 1DO001 possible master die doubling. I thought that was up on the GO of God. We'll use this right here. We've got this die scratch headed northwest off the top of the T, off the left top of the T. We'll use that as our marker for this. Let's flip it over and take a look at the other side real quick. Then I'll go back through, real quickly, go back through the other 7 coins that I need to go through to check for that. So there's another die scratch off the north of the O going into the left base, just in case I need it. There's a bunch of die scratches on the reverse. Big die scratch from the left dot through the T into the rim at 11 o'clock on the reverse. This isn't Jeff Dunn, this is Eric. I got Jeff Dunn's name out because I accidentally drew 2 names and I've got it sitting out here. Alright, let me go through these other coins real quick. Take care of this part of the job and I'll be able to tell you whether or not you guys have examples of this die. That's not one of them. This is not one of them. Oops. Wrong side, Chuck. Wrong side. Says also not one of them. This is not one of them. Well, I'm pretty much ruling out master die issue right now because I'm going through one roll. Master die probably made all of these dies, which means all of them would have the same issue if it was a master die issue, and it does not appear to be so because I am not finding another one of those in the coins that we've been through so far. Nothing yet. So, coin number 10 will be Jeff Dunn. Let's take a look at coin number 10. No RPM. Let's keep roaming around. This is not one of them because I would have noticed that die scratch next to the bow tie. Don't have the scratch on the T. And we don't have the notching on the L. So we have ourselves another normal coin there. Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with everything that John lists as a doubled working hub. I think there have been a number of cases where he takes a number of similar doubled dies and just writes them off as being from a working hub without any proof. Doubling on working hubs doesn't quite work that way. So I don't know what to tell you. Doubled working hubs are not going to look like this. So I respectfully decline to follow his reality, and I will this is a doubled split serif RPM here, and I will substitute it with my own. And this does have the little accent mark between the tie and the 1. You can see it right there. Sometimes it takes a special angle of lighting. You can't move stuff around too much. There it is again. So this is going to be another example of die 1 for the roll. This is a minor split double serif RPM. And what's about a 68D? Hello, Coins and Currency. So what's your favorite coin to collect, Coins and Currency? You deal much with Lincoln Cents at all? That's what we do here. We have fun with it. Oh, Steve A. We have found so far a minor double die on the L of Liberty. And we have found a minor double split serif RPM, which I believe this was one of them. And I did not put it on the pile. Yeah, this is one of them, and I did not put it on the pile. So let me put it on the pile. So we've got two of those now. Kelly Michaud will take coin number 12. Coin number 12 is the next coin in the roll. And on coin number 12, we find... well, nothing on the date or mint mark. No doubled I. No doubled motto. We've got no scratch on the T. And we have no notch on the L. Looking at the reverse. And we have nothing on that. As it would appear. Yep. Nothing on the reverse. So coin number 12 in and out quickly. We're going to bag and tag it. Moving on. That's Kelly Michaud. Coin number 13 now. Coin number 13 will go to Wild Bill. Wild Bill. Let's see what Wild Bill gets. Coin number 13. This is lucky coin number 13 here. Not seeing anything on the date or mint mark. And nothing on this side either. Let's flip it over and take a look at the reverse. Wheat pennies, Indians, Franklin half dollars, and Mercury dimes. Well, you named about half of them. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the family. You stick around, we'll teach you everything that you want to know and a lot more about searching Lincoln Cents for value. So we go through these uncirculated rolls and bags of Lincoln Cents that have been picked from very reliable sources as being original. Thus, this roll, as we're opening it and looking at it, has not been open. These coins have not seen the light of day since 1961. We're going through and we're looking for die varieties. We're going to look for repunched mint marks. We're going to look for doubled dies. And as we look for those items, they're pulled aside. And there were 50 people, or a number of people, who purchased the 50 coins in this roll prior to it being opened. So that when the roll is open and we start going through it, I'm working on telling you. So when we start going through it, I pull names out of a bag. The 50 coins that were purchased by the 50 names in the bag. I pull a name out of the bag. I put a coin under the scope. That person actually receives that coin. Every one of the coins. See, this is coin number 14 in the roll. There's the coin in its flip insert now. And I put Justin's name in here with it, just like that. And Justin will receive this coin. I sell these rolls, 50 coin rolls, all different dates and mints. I sell them on Tuesday evenings at our auction. We hold an auction every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, except the first Tuesday of the month, which this week is the first Tuesday of the month, so we will not have an auction this week. But I do what are called reveal sales. And the reveal, this is a reveal. I'm revealing the contents of a roll for the first time in who knows how long. A reveal sale occurs after the auctions on Tuesday evening normally, where you need to have your trigger finger ready, because I will give you a shotgun start to purchase spots in a roll. I will announce what the roll is, how much they are, and what your limit per person is, and then I will give you a shotgun start. At the shotgun start, it's your time to pull the trigger and buy as many coins as you want up to the limit. And I'm telling you, at the trigger time, you have less than probably 5 seconds to respond. Less than 5 seconds to respond, or you miss your place. Because we have enough people that it is actually an act of luck to get into one of these rolls now. I can only do so many of them. And given that I can only do so many of them, I can only sell so many spots. Given that I can only sell so many spots, there are a number of people who get left behind in every single roll we sell. Well, hello, Gareth Bates. Coins and Currency. Let me get you guys added up as moderators so you don't look so different. There you go. We've had a problem with trolls lately, and trolls come in and they disrupt the whole event stream by masking themselves as people already in the chat and then making comments that look like they're coming from the person that we already have in the chat. And if they come in and steal names like that, did I not get you in there? So you're not showing up for some reason. Head moderator. There we go. All right. And as we get people in here that don't look like they belong, so for instance, we have a farm dog in here. If I see a farm dog name that shows up in gray, I know it's a troll, because farm dog has already been made blue. We already know that farm dog is a regular here. So if someone shows up with the name farm dog and their name is in gray, I just boot them right away. I don't even say a word. Just boot them right off the screen, just like that. So getting back to what we're doing here. You buy spots in the roll, then you get name cards made for yourself. And yeah, it's hard to see a little bit, but it does have the reveal number at the top of the card. And that goes here. While I pull your coin, we look at your coin and we say, well, it looks like Singjay is going to probably get another normal coin out of this, because I don't see anything in the date and mint mark area that is worth collecting as a premium instrument. And the L doesn't have anything on it. And those were the two things that we've been finding so far in this roll. 1961D is not very well known for having any double die reverses, so we're going to very quickly look through it for error issues such as struck throughs, laminations, cracked planchets, or anything else. A retained struck through would be really nice. A piece of wire struck into the coin that's still sitting in the coin. That's a couple $100 right there. And that will not show on the other side of the coin. So we make sure we look at the obverse and reverse of every coin. When I'm finished looking at the coin, I'll stick it inside of a holder like this. I put Singjay's name in it, put him in a stack over here, and then they get sorted later by person. And then I put them in nice little plastic sheets and send them to you. You can get into these on Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. is our auction. You can register, pre-register to make sure that your name is registered, because you cannot just start buying stuff. You have to be registered first. This is another one of our RPMs, but it's not one that we've seen so far. This is a different one now. You can see that it's an RPM or a repunched mint mark by the fact that you have doubling in the serifs. So you can see that there's two D's punched right on top of one another, stacked together. And you can tell that by the fact that, we're here, the serifs on the corners of the letters are actually notched. So you got one D minted directly over another D, or punched directly over another D. And that happens on the die. It occurs on the die that makes the coins. So this coin is attributable to a particular die that struck it. And those dies in the cataloging system, we give numbers. And a die number tells you that you have an example that came from that particular die. Given that, you can collect all the different dies, all the different known dies of a given year by collecting an example of a coin that came from that die. See those two scratches coming up out of the bow tie right there? That's a marker. That's something that we can say, okay, that's part of the fingerprint on the die. This right here is part of what you see on that die, in this roll anyway, are those two die scratches. So if I look for that doubling on the mint mark and look for those two die scratches, I can ascertain that two coins were minted by the same die. So I pull those out, stack them up over here on the side, and identify them later. If at the time that I identify, oh, this is interesting, this is not only a RPM, but it's a little tiny double die. Little tiny bit of doubling right there on the top of the L. Go take a look at it here real quick. Get it in focus. And right about there is going to be in focus. You see that little tiny button on top of the L? That little tiny button on the top of the L is actually the top of another L. So you got two L's right there, one right on top of the other. I'm looking to see if we have that notching that we were looking for earlier. We might have just a little tiny bit of it, but you can also see that there is a little microscopic little tiny button on top of the I. So you have a little button on the L and a little button on the I, so you have doubling here. Let's go look at the in and see if we have doubling there. It does not appear that we have any doubling on in. So that L right there is going to be a little tiny minor double die that will be a marker, partial marker, for this repunch mint mark. The repunch mint mark is definitely listable in the system. The double die may not be, but we could mention that there is a minor button on the top of the L in Liberty so that other people who get this die could look for it. And that is part of how we do attribution of die varieties. We attribute dies by looking first at the characteristics of the doubling itself. If the characteristics of the doubling on one coin appear to match the characteristics of doubling on another coin, then we start looking for markers that we can match, because the characteristics could be repeated from die to die. But when you get the same characteristics plus the same markers, you're almost 100% certain that you got two coins from one die. I don't really know, Adam. I am kind of unfamiliar with what James Wiles has decided to do with the system as it exists and where he's going with it. I will list them if there are two split serifs. You've got two split serifs there, an upper and a lower. If there are two split serifs, I will list them for sure. But I won't always necessarily list one serif that's split, because there may not be enough. I kind of look at these and I kind of say, okay, well, you know, will this show on a late die state coin? Because this is a mid die state coin here. And mid-late die state, that's kind of stuff that we'll get into later for the people who are just joining us. I want to be able to give you guys a primer and get you into it kind of slowly. Just knowing that you have an RPM is important enough right now. And then so we say, okay, well, you've got a minor RPM here. So I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to call it die number 3 for this roll, because we have now 3 different die varieties for this roll. So I'm going to pull this out, call it die number 3 for the roll. I'm going to put it in a pile over to the side. Now, once this video is over, once we've been through this entire roll, I'm going to take Eric's coin here, and I'm going to look at it closely under a microscope, and I'm going to try to compare it to any listing that I can find. If there's one out there, then I put that listing number on a new flip insert and put that flip insert in there before mailing it off to Eric. That way he'll have a collectible coin with a collectible flip insert that he will know for sure has been guaranteed to be the die that it says it is. He can then get that coin attributed and holdered by Anex. He could sell it on the open market with the flip that it currently has, because Any of the people who deal with copper coins know that copper coins are guaranteed to be what they say they are. And so we get that sent to Eric, and he now has a truly collectible coin because it's an identified die variety. Identifying your own can sometimes present a little bit of a hazard in the sense that sometimes you're going to get it wrong. I guarantee that they're right when I'm doing it. Now, another thing that comes along is we do find brand new dies that we've never seen before, that no one has ever seen before. They're not listed in any system anywhere, or at least in the copper coin system, they're not listed. So I have to list them. I have to put brand new images up, brand new information up, and it's going to be based on the coin that I found in the roll that goes to your name, whomever I pull out. Well, that coin is going to be photographed for coppercoins.com and the interweb system on coppercoins.com that's cataloging all the different die varieties of the Lincoln Cent. When I get those photos listed on there, it's going to have a new die number. That die number is also going to be on your flip, but the other thing that'll be on your flip are the words plate coin. Because plate coin means that I've taken photographs of your coin for my website. It's also going to say new listing on it and give you a year and a month. The reason for that is because, well, it is a new listing, and it was newly listed as of whenever it was listed. Right now, it would be 05/20, because it is now May. And so you get that new listing plus your plate coin. When I send you a plate coins are kind of scarce, simply because I don't need photographs of every coin that comes out of a roll. I don't need photographs of the same die variety 100 different times. I only need it once. So once I've taken a photograph of that die state of that die variety, there is a pretty good chance that I'll never need to replace those photos. Given there's a good chance that I may never need to replace those photos, your coin could remain the plate coin for whoever knows how long. Well, people buy plate coins. They enjoy having plate coins because it's kind of famous in the sense that Copper Coins is a major numismatic website. And if I've got photographs of your coin on Copper Coins, not only do I have photographs of your coin, but also the credit to having found that die variety goes to you because, well, you own the first known coin that was photographed. So there's a lot of things that go into this. And these coins, generally, when I sell the spots on Tuesday evenings during my auction, they're going to be anywhere between $1 and $5 or $6 a coin, depending on the issue and what we can expect to find. Generally, wheat cents are into the $3 plus range, and memorial cents are generally $2 or less. I believe NX would put a plate coin on the slab on your coins if you ask for it and pay the extra line to put plate coin on there. I think they will take coins that have my signature on the flip and put plate coin on them. I do believe they will. In fact, I need to call them about that. I need to talk to the president of the company about that again, because they do have different levels of service. Like if you're doing die variety attribution, they charge an extra amount. I think this should be a part of that extra amount, is checking for plate coin and putting that on the holder. I do have a little bit of a working relationship with NX in that sense. They've been using the Copper Coins die system by request for probably 10 to 15 years now. More than 10 years. Okay, this is going to be another die number 1 for the day. I can see the accent mark between the 1 and the bow tie right there. It's a little tiny die scratch, a little tiny angled die scratch halfway between the 1 and the bow tie. And we do have our double split serifs. We've got split upper serif and split lower serif. So here once again, we definitely have an RPM. And I know that it's from one particular die because all of the coins that I've been finding made with that one particular die have that one die scratch, the one that I've got centered on the screen right now. There's a little die scratch, it looks like an accent mark between the 1 and the lower bow tie. So we know that we have another example of what I'm calling die number 1 for the roll. Isn't that nice? JOB shows up It just happens to be right exactly when his coin is showing, and it is an RPM. Hello, JOB. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday. Great Friday and a good weekend to come up. We're going to have a warm weekend here, that's for sure. They're expecting a high temperature of 88 degrees on Sunday. I'm in North Carolina, central North Carolina, actually eastern North Carolina. I'm not really sure why they're calling it central North Carolina because I live in the eastern third of the state, but I live in Raleigh, state capital. Just to let you guys know exactly where this broadcast is coming from, we are in the Eastern time zone, so all times on my channel are Eastern time, except for the Sunday auction. Sunday auctions are held at 3 o'clock p.m. Central Time. The reason for that is because they're broadcast from Iowa. And I've had people ask, and I forgot to respond to an email a couple of weeks ago, that if you got coins from one auction and got coins from the other auction, could you combine shipping on them? The answer to that is no. I cannot combine shipping on coins that reside in Iowa and coins that reside in North Carolina. So Jessica's auctions on the weekend are a completely separate thing with regard to shipping than my auctions or the roll reveals that I do here in North Carolina. Greensboro is about an hour and a half to the west of here. Good afternoon, Hidden Numismatist. This thing keeps falling slightly out of focus. Just a weird thing. So I want to show you guys a product review. We're halfway through the roll. I'm going to do a commercial as a product review. This is a scale that I just ordered from Amazon. It was a nice scale. I didn't expect a whole lot. And then when I got it, it's actually nicer than I had expected. I'm going to show you something here. Okay, let me get this where you can see it and I can see it. There we go. Now I'm going to turn it on, and it's going to go to a 000. And I'll show you how accurate this thing is. I've already done calibration. This is a 20 gram weight right here. A 20 gram weight comes with it. You press the mode button down and hold it in until it goes to CAL, and then you press the weight and it tears out at 20 grams. And then you put your 20 gram weight on there and it tells you exactly what you've got. Now here's a normal Lincoln cent. This is a normal wheat cent right here. Set it down right in the center. Comes up at 3.104 grams. So 3.1 grams is what they should weigh. And here we go. Now it's at 3.100. Okay. That'll show you that your coin weighs the right amount. You need a scale that is accurate to 3 zeros past the decimal point. And they used to be $100 or more to get one of these. This is the next coin in the roll right here. I'm going to weigh it. Okay, 3.07 is not too far off. It's 3.08, which is 2/100ths of a gram off of the desired weight. Lincoln cents can weigh anything between 3.05 and 3.15 and still be completely normal. So this one is completely normal at 3.077. I'm going to move this off to the side a little bit, and I'm going to weigh one more coin for you right here. This is the next one in the roll. It's a little bit heavy, 3.119, but I said all the way up to 3.15 is normal. So 3 decimal points is really good when you're using a scale like this. These things used to cost hundreds of dollars. Now they're down to under $25. You can get these for under $25 at this point. Now let me show you something really cool if I can find it. Right here. This is one that I found a few days back. I'm still not sure what it is exactly, but it's a 1957 Lincoln cent. It looks normal in every way until you weigh it. It's only 2.81 grams. Way underweight. Now, I noticed it because as I was moving coins around, it hit the countertop and it just sounded totally different from your typical Lincoln cent. Now, I'm going to do this as a little test for you. Let's drop this and see how well you can hear it. I'm going to move my microphone way down. Okay. Could you guys hear that? Tell me if you could hear it, because I don't know if my microphone picked that up. But this is the 1957. And then this is a normal Lincoln cent. Did you hear the difference? I heard the difference immediately. And when I heard the difference, I knew, oh, wait a minute, this isn't the normal coin right here. So then I got my 3 decimal point scale out, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to find out exactly how much this thing weighs. And boom, 2.81, about 2.82 grams. I don't know what it is. I haven't done very much of any research on it yet, but I know it's not normal. So, that's my little product review for you. This is, I'm going to shut it off here. This is a Brifit, B-R-I-F-I-T, and it comes in a nice hard little case. It takes 2 AAA batteries. It has all the instructions inside the lid, so you don't have to keep the paperwork or anything. I hate the ones that you have to keep the paperwork so you can figure out how to use the stupid things. And so this one's very neat. It's very nice, and they're under $20. Well, I'll tell you what, folks. I'm going to give some of these away. You heard me right. I'm going to give some of these away. Details will follow. But it may be a very surprise thing that happens, that I'm going to give one of these away in perhaps a show or something at some point where nobody knows ahead of time what's going to happen except me. So it could be a very surprise pull-off giveaway that I do. And you guys are just going to have to stay tuned. Joe McBride gets coin number 26. I'm done now. Thank you very much. You can leave tips at the door on your way out. Joe McBride gets the next coin. It looks like it's going to be a normal coin. It's a little fleck of metal sitting on top of the field right there. I love those little scales. Those little scales, they do a whole lot to show you what you've got versus what you may not have. They go a long way to help you figure out exactly what's going on with your coins. Because when you can get 3 decimals of accuracy when you're weighing something, thank you, Hidden. Thank you very much. Got a $2 super chat from Hidden Numismatist. We do have super chat available for anyone who wants to use it. You can donate to the show just by hitting the little money sign and put an amount in there. It doesn't have to be anything big at all. And it certainly helps me out, helps the channel out too. Liking the videos also definitely helps the channel out, and basically all you're doing there is you're giving a free thumbs up to the channel. It's free to you and free to me. And what that does is it actually strengthens, it bolsters my opportunity to be in a search result when someone searches for something. Ha! Thank you, Starbuck. I appreciate it, brother. So what the likes do, let's say I have 300 views. If I've got 300 likes on 300 views, that's a 100% like rate. If I have a 100% like rate on my videos, YouTube says, wow, everybody who watches that likes it, so it must have good content. So we're going to put it at the top of the list when somebody searches for roll hunting, as an example. Is that another one of our little notches right there? That looks like it might be another one of our little notches, but it's not showing up as a die scratch on the T. I get a die scratch on the Y. No, that's actually a little fiber. Let's zoom in here and see if we can see. That does look like it's got the same notching. Let me brighten the day a little bit here. That does look like it has notching. Okay, so I'll stick this on the stack with the other, and we'll take a better look at it later, and I'll find out whether or not this is something that happened on the die or if it's something that happened ahead of the die. It does give us a good little lead into that investigation. Did I leave off anywhere in that story about how you become a participant in these roles and what I do and how I send it to you? I think I covered the whole thing. I included the prices. Generally, the prices are going to be between $1 and $5 or $6 a coin, depending on how new or how old they are. Also, what we can get out of the rolls, the potential, I call it. And we also talk about, well, have to talk about the price that the rolls cost me to get. A lot of times, I'm paying way over typical retail prices because I'm getting rolls that are very good. Next one goes to Jeff Dunn now. And so that's what we do here. And this kind of looks maybe a little bit... Oh, there's another... It's a minor split upper serif right there. You can kind of see it. If I dim the lights way down, you can kind of see that upper serif, the little light on it, is split into two little parts. Get it in really good focus. So you can see that it's split right there. So I'm going to turn the light back up to a normal level. And we'll run this around. It can actually even see, I believe there's actually a separation line on the vertical bar. So let's take a good look. Good close look. Get it in perfect focus, and I'll brighten the light up. Yeah, definitely. That's doubling on the vertical bar and doubling on the upper serif. Let's look at the lower serif and see what we can see there. Nothing really. But now you can see, if you look where the upper serif is, you can see how much thicker everything is up in that area, and you can also see in that little bit of a red hue glow, which is a reflection off the 9, you can see that split. It's a very odd little shape. There it is again. You can see it better right there. So yeah, we definitely have an RPM here. So even though it's a very minor RPM and it may not be listable, we do have an RPM. I'm going to take a look at it better a little bit later and see what happens with regard to my ability to list this. But this is a decent coin going to Jeff Dunn. Let me dim my light back down. Little die gouge, little die scratch inside the eye. It looked almost like a doubled eyelid, but it's not. That wasn't hubbed in, that was scratched in. The difference is sometimes very difficult to detect, but a die scratch is going to be a lot thinner, and it's going to be sharp and thin, whereas a doubled eyelid in that area will be thicker and it should be softer. The difference between something hitting the die and something being hubbed into the die is pretty extreme most of the time. You can really tell the difference if you look at it closely. May take a little bit of experience too. That's coin number 28. Let's take a look at coin number 29 now. We're running way over on time. I started this at 1 o'clock or 1:30. I think it was was it 1 o'clock that I started this? I'm already an hour into the show. Let's see. Just trying to see what my time was. Yep, 59 minutes and 13 seconds. Okay, well, I am running behind then. Which, I mean, to some of you, I'm sure it's perfectly fine. To me, it's perfectly fine. But to some other people, it's like, shut up and get on with it. So for the people who don't want to see a whole lot of extra fluff and stuff, I have to get on with it. I might have the person on the 50th coin needs to go back to work. And they want to see their coin before they go back to work. And Chuck needs to shut up and get on with it. But this is the whole reason why a lot of other people like watching, because I actually do talk about coins, and I talk about history, and I talk about other stuff while I'm doing these. It is 1402. Been on for 1 hour now. I did come on just a minute or two late. I like being able to give my perspective on things. Especially in a situation where I'm the only one talking. You can't talk back. You can't retort. You can in the chat, but I can ignore it. I have the power. Isn't it? Looks like it has a little notch on the top of the L. You can kind of see it there as I'm shining the light indirectly into it. So I'm going to hold this one out too. This one may or may not be anything warranted, anything listable, but it does belong to Tim anyway. Is Tim here? I saw Tim earlier today, but I'm not sure that I've seen him during this broadcast. Tim Crowell is one of the newer people who's been involving himself in these reveals. I'm not sure that he's gotten anything really good yet, but this one will give him some chance of having something listed, perhaps. And Farm Dog is next. Not a troll. Farm Dog. Looks like a normal 61D from my house. I appreciate it, Starbuck. I'm trying to keep the interest in coin collecting as a history lesson, too. There's another one with a... And see, this one doesn't have the die scratch coming up out of the T either. So it could be 2 dies of these, or maybe more than 2. If there's more than 2 dies in this one roll that show the same doubling, I may agree with the whole idea of it being a hub issue and not a die issue. And if it's a hub issue, then it doesn't really have any value because there's too much of it out there. Sort of kind of smacks of the 1972 doubling that has just a wee little bit of doubling that you can see in different areas of the design, but it comes up on 72 plain D and S plus proof Lincoln cents, so you know that it's a master die issue. About half of the 1972 Lincoln cents ever minted had hub doubling on them from the master die. They have 0 extra value. Big goose egg. So we got nothing showing up on the date or the mint mark on this one. I keep moving around. Carefully trying to look at the eyelid through a piece of fuzz. So I get that little piece of fuzz off of there. Okay, now the eyelid is normal. And I see nothing here. Let me move over to the other side. SRK Iron Man, how are you doing, buddy? Well, Hidden, I appreciate it, brother. You have a great afternoon and a great weekend if I don't see you before then. Take care of your client, and I know you do. Hidden Numismatist makes computers. He makes good computers, really good computers. He made the computer that Jessica uses during her auction on Sunday, and that she uses to help me with my very many projects during the week. She loves that computer. I'm going to have him build one for me as soon as I can get the funding together to do it. Yeah, he doesn't do them for free, but he is very inexpensive and very good at what he does. Adam, I appreciate it, brother. You taking off? We're not finding anything major in this roll yet anyway. So it's kind of a not so wonderful thing. Okay, this is the one that has the really, really minor split upper serif, but it's got the gouges everywhere else. And I had decided to skip over these for now, go back and take a look at one of them under the big scope later to see if it's something I can list. If it's not anything I can list, then I made the right move. If it is something I can list, then I'll have to go back through the roll and pick out the rest of them and get them listed. One of them would be photographed and made a plate coin. The others will be new listing coins. But from looking at what I have seen on these so far, I do not believe this to be enough to list it as a die variety. All right, that's coin number 33. Now we're going to move on to coin number 34. Coin number 34 will belong to Paul Hampton. And Paul Hampton's coin is another one. Another one of those ones with the gouges all over it. I'll look around here real quick for any error issues that need to be addressed. And all I see is a really bright, shiny 1961 D Lincoln cent. Don't see anything that we need to discuss on here. Hey, Bulldog. Hope you're having a good day. It's Friday. Yay. Hope you're having a good day at work. You can join us. We're not having a... Well, we are. We're going to be doing... the remainder of the 1950s bag pull is going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So that would be... Gosh. Well, you live in the Pacific or the Mountain Time? I'm not sure because I can't remember. You're... Oh, no, you're California. Never mind, you're Pacific Time. I was thinking Arizona there for a while for some reason. But yeah, what would that be? 5 o'clock your time. Maybe a little bit too early for you, but it will be an hour-long show. So, well, I appreciate you stopping by, Bulldog. Definitely not finding a whole lot in this roll. We're trying anyway. This is another one that has a little notch in the corner of the L that we're going to pull off to the side. As I find these, I'm beginning to lose hope that they are actually doubled dies, and they may actually be something on the master die or the hub. Or I may just be seeing things, and I only had one of them that actually was a real notch. So we're going to put this in the pile with the rest of them. We got 4 of them now that I'll have to look at later. Starbuck. Got another coin for you. Let's see what we got here for you. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a normal coin. Yeah. Unfortunately, this one's going to be a normal coin. So we're probably not going to have anything on this one because I've seen this die before. So it's kind of an unfortunate thing. So I'm moving right along and the chat is following me at about a 5-second delay. So at the point in time that I said, oh, well, it looks like you've got a normal coin, Starbucks says, yay! Of course, I know it was because that was his next coin coming up. He was excited to see his next coin, but not excited to find out that it was a normal coin. Oop, we do have to get his name associated with this coin. The name of a winner with the coin that's a loser. Hey, look at that. I pulled his name again. Starbuck. Come back. Pick your head up. We got another one. Looking to see what we've got here. And one that's very close to the date and mint mark. So date and mint mark are very close to one another. Sometimes these provide some level of interest, but this one is just normal again. Let's take a look on over here. And we do have a little notch on the top of the L, so let me hold this one aside with the others. Look at the reverse on this one first. See if we have anything to be listed or anything to be desired on the reverse of this coin, and there isn't anything there. Hey, Papa Giorgio, we actually talked about that at the very beginning of the stream, that the date on the 1961 Lincoln cents, because the ones fail to have any serifs, the date looks exactly the same right set up as it does upside down. Did you know that we would have to continue manufacturing Lincoln cents for this to ever happen again? We would have to continue manufacturing Lincoln cents just like this until the year 6009. something tells me that might not happen. So that would make 1961 the only year in existence for U.S. coins, or at least for the Lincoln cent, for sure, that the date can be read the same right side up and upside down. I see people trying to get currency with serial numbers that read the same right side up and upside down. It has to all be 0s, 6s, and 9s because none of the other digits in the font they presently use, none of the other digits read the same upside down and right side up. They could change the font a little bit, and then 1s and 8s would also qualify. But for right now, it's just 0s, 6s, and 9s. And there are some numbers, like the 3. It just looks really weird when it can be flipped upside down because the font just looks wrong. But it's a possibility. So the only digits we have that are even a possibility are 0, 1, 3, 6, and 8, and 9. Leaving us the 7, the 4, and the 5 as not possible. Can't flip those over and read them. All right, that was coin number 39 for Mr. Fletcher. Let's take a look at coin number 40 now. I've only got about 20 minutes before I have to be prepping for my next reveal, which is going to be the 1969 S roll. 69 S roll would be coming up at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock Eastern time. It's 45 minutes from right now. Oh, there's another one with a little notch. We still got about 10 minutes worth of looking at coins, so I'm going to have to hurry up here. I'm going to have to end this broadcast and move on to the next one. So forgive me for not doing any chit-chat at the end of the broadcast. I think I covered all of it during the middle of the broadcast and don't have time. Left myself without a lot of time. I've got to schedule these shows 3 hours apart. I scheduled them today 2 hours apart, thinking I'd be able to get through it. But I have to schedule the shows 3 hours apart. And if I don't start until 11, that only makes it so that I can do 3 to 4 shows per day. And that's sitting here constantly, pretty much. Hey, here we go. Here's another repunch mint mark. This is a double split serif repunch mint mark. And this one is going to be... Is that where I saw the marker that I've been looking for? Is that scratch off the T? I think that's what it is. This is die number 3 for the day then. So, nice little double split serif RPM for Adam Chambers, who's already gone. He had to take off. Thank you, Spike Ted Die Crack. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming by. Who sounds like Star Trek? You talking about me? That now I sound like Star Trek. Who is that, Captain Kirk? Or one of the other guys? Like Leonard Nimoy? But James, I found a good one. Starbuck. Another coin for Starbuck. Data. So I sound like an android? Why is that because I talk too much and I don't have any emotion when I talk? Hey, look, there's another one, I think. That might be. It looks like it is. I could be a blues DJ. I got you beat by one. I used to be a jazz DJ. Does that sound okay? I always wanted to be a DJ on a regular pop radio station. I've never really had the bubbly personality for it. I talk pretty well, I guess, but I never had that much of a bubbly personality. You gotta have a bubbly personality to be on the radio. And everybody wants to listen to you talk about the latest and greatest news in music and entertainment. Yeah, I'm just not that kind of person. I fall quite short on the excitement meter. So I'm better off not doing pop or anything bubbly. So jazz, that works for me. Unique music for unique people. Played 24/7 right here on the Jazz Station, 97.9 KTNT, Edmond, Oklahoma City. All right, well, Tim got himself a normal coin. Normal. But we had 3 coins in a row that were of some form of die variety. 3 coins in a row. Here's Sarah Gordon. Kicking off another 40-minute smooth jazz session, commercial free right here on the Jazz Station. Next up, we've got Sarah Gordon, coin number 44. And since coin number 44 doesn't show us anything, we're going to move on to the next track. Longtime Hall of Fame hopeful on the piano will be Steve A. Coin number 45 is the title of his song. You just hear a little bit of Kenny G or Warren Hill, Najee, Spyro Gyra, a lot of the stuff I used to play back in the 90s. The Rippingtons. I probably know the jazz stuff better than I know the pop stuff from the 90s, and that's only because I worked with it on a pretty regular basis. Hey, look, there's a mouse sitting on the bass. Little tiny mouse. It looks like a monkey. So if any of you guys were watching me last night, and I said at one point, I smell honeysuckle. I did. There were the candles my wife was lighting downstairs. I could smell honeysuckle coming through the air conditioning vent, because the intake for the air conditioning vent is in the living room, and that's where she lit these. So the intake took the air in and went through the air conditioning system, was cooled off by the Freon pipe, and then it came up into the vents and spewed itself out into my room smelling like honeysuckle. That was interesting. Now we have another one of our coins that has the gouges all over it, so we know it's not a die variety. We can keep looking at it in any way, just for the sake of finding anything that might be error-worthy on here. You never know when the tip of a screw could break off and get struck into a coin. You never notice until you flip it over and take a look at it. What was on the one? The last one of the date I'm assuming you're talking about. That's all die gouges. It's all die gouges and nasties. There's some there. There's some down here under the bust, and there's some up here over by the bow tie. We've determined that this is a repeatable thing. It's on the die. It's damage to the die, and it's occurring to all these coins. And so we've been able to look at the coins and determine that there's no die variety on the coins, so that when we see those little gouges, we know that those little gouges are giving us a good idea that there's nothing on the remainder of the coin for that very reason. Look at the L. Okay, I'll go look at the L again. Come on, L. Oh, that's the I. Wrong place. So I'm not really seeing the notching here. And there's a little bit of flavor, but there's not enough to call it notching. Yeah, nothing there. Sorry, folks. Well, technical difficulties. Please stand by. Like to get somebody like me that puts people like Dave to sleep on the National Weather Service. Wouldn't that be interesting? Ladies and gentlemen, we have issued a tornado warning for your county. Please take cover. So it's different voices you don't want used for certain things. I just did coin number 46 and didn't pull a name for it. That would be Paul Hampton. Paul Hampton is going to get the coin that I just showed. I know it's a little bit late for me to be announcing a name, but that's just the way it worked this time around. Wait a minute. No, that's Wild Bill's. Wild Bill already got that coin. Oh, yeah, that's right. Joe McBride told me he wanted to see it again, and I'd already stuffed the name. So you pulled me off my game here. Coin number 47 will go to Paul Hampton then. Let's take a look at coin number 47 and see what's there. Somebody making fun of me for trying to do the scope and talk at the same time. I'm just not very coordinated when it comes to that. Had a girlfriend one time who used to pronounce it that way, coordinated. She couldn't say coordinated. She said coordinated. There's also that white stuff that comes out of a cow that you put in the fridge and drink. She didn't call it milk. She called it milk. It had an N in it. Milk. Don't really know why. Joe, nothing to be sorry for, brother. It's my own fault that I can't keep track of my nose and my mouth at the same time. I should be able to do more than I can. At once, anyway. But, alas, we have one of the die number 3, I believe. Little minor split upper serif with a little bit of a split in the vertical. We ran into one of these a little bit earlier. And see, it's got the little die gouge that kind of almost looks like a double die lid. That's a die number 3 there. Maybe I should put a bedtime story reading on YouTube and let you people who have smaller children, let them listen to my bedtime story. See if that works. See if that's something that we could market. Some chance of it anyway, you know. Get a guy with a voice to put you to sleep, to read a story to your kid. If I put your kids to sleep, you owe me money. That's how that works. Okay, here's coin number 49 now. This is second to the last coin in the roll, and we're going to look at it for Steve A. And I'm not seeing anything here yet. That's right, story time with Chucky. That's the way that could work. Hey, look, we have a little tail sticking out of the D there. D for dog. Has a tail and goes woof woof. The dog says woof woof. let's see here. What's the first story I should read? If I can get a story that I can read, I'll probably try it and see what happens. Let your kids listen to it and tell me how long it takes them to fall asleep. And I don't need more coffee. I'm fine. I might need less coffee, but not more. If I drink more coffee, I'll be going through the roof. The Little Train That Could, Green Eggs and Ham. Okay. But the Green Eggs and Ham, that's not a bedtime story, is it? I have to do something that doesn't require visual. Unless maybe I just go through the pages of the book and show images of the pictures. I don't know how, I mean, I'm sure that's got to be a copyright protected thing. I wouldn't know how to do that. I wouldn't know how to go through getting all the permissions that I would need to do a Dr. Seuss book. Well, that was Kevin Speaks. That was the last coin in the roll. It's coin number 50. We'll review what I've got here real quick. And I've probably got others that I have not yet pulled out of the roll that will be pulled out during the reinspection of the roll. But I've got somewhere around 40 to 42, somewhere in there, normal coins here. And then I have die number 1 for the day. So far, what I found are 2 coins, number 3 and number 11. That goes to Paul Hampton and Adam Chambers. And then so far, these little bar L things, the little things with the doubling on the top of the L, I've found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. So the coins are number 42, number 40, number 37, number 35, number 31, number 30, and number 9. They belong to, in reverse order, Eric Beyer, Tim, Farm Dog, Tim again, Starbuck, Farm Dog again, and Starbuck again. That's a broken record for you. And then we have this die number 3 for the day. This die number 3 for the day had slightly different markers from die number 1, but it was basically the same thing. We got 2 of them, one going to Eric and one going to Adam. That's coin numbers 19 and 41. 1941 was a good year. 1941 was the day, today, May 1st. 1941 was the day the Navajo Code Talkers were inducted into the United States Army to do their thing, speaking Navajo, so that the Japanese and other enemies would not be able to figure out what they were saying. They were inducted into the Army in May 1st, 1941. That's how that works. My grandpa was already a sergeant in the Marine Corps then. My grandpa did the Marine Corps from 1940 through 1944, 1945. He was sent back home with a hole in his hand and a Purple Heart. Well, folks, I appreciate it. We're going to have to get moving here because I've got another show coming up. My next show coming up is going to be at 3 o'clock p.m. It's going to be the 1969 S roll. It's about a half an hour from now. So I'll see you guys then. I'm going to take off for now. Have fun.